Greetings to you all, our cherished followers. Welcome to Learn English with Miss Dadzie, and it's our ultimate goal to make learning easier for you. Today's topic is Introduction to Summary Writing. I would want to believe we are all familiar with summary writing. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to this page, kindly click on the subscribe button and the like button. By the end of the lesson, we are expecting that you'll be able to explain summary, identify basic rules for summary writing. You'll be able to also summarize sentences, and then finally you'll be able to answer simple summary tasks, that is from simple or short passages. Summary writing, summarizing a sentence. To summarize simply means to give a shortened account of any piece of writing or an event. It involves identifying the main point in a passage or piece of writing. Sometimes sentences can be summarized too. I would want to believe that most of us have been made to believe that summary is only applicable to passages or paragraphs. But then, we can summarize sentences too. And that is the first and simplest or easiest task when it comes to summary writing or summary tasks. So let's have a look at this example. Rachel bought banana, orange, pawpaw, pineapple, and apple. To summarize sentence 1, the first question you can ask yourself is, what is this entire sentence focusing on? That is, Rachel bought banana, orange, pawpaw, pineapple, and apple. What do you think is the basic information that the person is trying to communicate or put across to the listener? Obviously, it is talking about the things Emilia bought. We can say then that Emilia bought fruits because banana, orange, pawpaw, pineapple, and apple are all fruits. And they can be represented or replaced by fruits in the sentence. So summarizing that sentence, we can simply say Rachel bought fruits. Now let's have a look at the second sentence. Martin uses nails, wood, hammer, and screwdriver to work. Martin uses nails, wood, hammer, and screwdriver to work. What do you think the sentence is focusing on or is trying to communicate to the person? And which caliber of people or which profession make use of nails, wood, hammer, and screwdriver when they are working? So to summarize this sentence, you think about some of these things. You consider why someone will be using nails, wood, hammer, and screwdriver to work. Then you can probably consider the fact that Martin is a carpenter, because we know they make use of wood, they use nails, they use hammer, and sometimes screwdrivers to work too, among many other tools that they are likely to use whilst working. Now, let's look at some basic rules of summary writing. How you can easily summarize sentences. I am sure most of you have been summarizing passages or paragraphs, and then you've been marked wrong. Let's look at some of the rules so that in your next summary writing class or task, you'll be able to perform better or write the correct thing. The first rule, always look for the main points or sentences in any given summary sentence or passage. So in this case, the main point is applicable to the sentence, or the main sentences is applicable to the passage. So with every passage that you are given or sentence that you are given, there is a focus. Usually we consider it as a topic sentence, but it's not always that the topic sentence is explicit for you to see it openly or clearly. Sometimes you would have to think thoroughly, like in the case of Rachel. Rachel bought banana, orange, fruits, and banana, orange, apple, and all those things. You realize it wasn't made known to you easily. You had to think critically before you were able to conclude that it's fruits that is being talked about. The second rule, a different word not found in the passage can be used to summarize a passage if it can represent two or more ideas in a passage. Now, one thing that we've realized, or I have noticed, most of the time students try to pick the exact sentence or sentences or paragraphs, or short some part of the passage to represent or to answer summary task question. And that is the first thing you can do if you really want to fail when it comes to summary writing task, or you really want to get it wrong. Because with summary, we are expecting that you represent a whole idea in a shortened form, or a whole passage in a shortened form. So picking a particular sentence from the passage would mean that you are leaving the other items or the other things that were mentioned in the paragraph or passage, and that becomes an issue. So in the case of Rachel bought banana, oranges, and apple, you realize when you replace it with a new word, fruit, it covers all those things that Rachel went to buy from the market. Number 3, always use simple sentences when answering summary question. The simple sentences is basically the SVO format, that is just declarative. It should be simple so that it wouldn't contradict yourself, or you wouldn't make it a complex sentence and then it becomes another issue altogether. All examples are excluded when answering summary questions. All examples mentioned in the passage or paragraph are excluded whenever you are answering summary task questions. There is no use of conjunction such as and, or, but, because, for, nor, yet, etc., except when the summary task demands you put two ideas into one sentence. Sometimes the summary task can instruct you to put two ideas together. So in that case, a conjunction is allowed when you are answering such summary task. But then if it's the simple or the basic summary task, then it's expected that you just use the simple sentence format, or you avoid the usage of any conjunction, since it changes it from the simple sentence to either a compound sentence or a complex sentence. The set one, there is no need to use punctuation marks like comma, colon, semicolon, etc. It's advisable not to use any punctuation mark except for the full stop. That is when you get to the end of your answer. Now let's have a look at this summary task. Simple summary task. Every summary passage comes with its own task. Summarizing a passage can be done in a sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, or more. It depends on the instruction. That's what comes with the summary task. So let's look at this one. Passage. I attend St. Martin de Paul's MAGHS school. Every Monday and Tuesday, we wear a simple pleated straight dress. On Wednesdays, we wear a black pleated skirt with a yellow Lacoste. Every Friday, we wear an African print cloth to school. Let me take this again. I attend St. Martin de Paul's MA Junior High School. Every Monday and Tuesday, we wear a simple pleated straight dress. On Wednesdays, we wear a black pleated skirt with a yellow Lacoste. Every Friday, we wear an African print cloth to school. Now, considering the rules that were mentioned or discussed earlier or explained earlier, what do you think this simple passage or paragraph is talking about? Is it focusing on the school? Is it focusing on what they wear on Monday, what they wear on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday? So now the summary task. Summarize the passage in one sentence. So that is the task, in one sentence. So this passage that has been displayed on your left hand, we are expected to summarize it in one sentence. Now let's look at how we can best summarize it. Things to consider. What does this passage talk about the most? Is it the school, the days of the week, or the uniforms they wear during the week? So amongst these two, amongst these 3 or 4 questions that have been asked, which one do you think the passage is focusing on? Now, I would want to believe that you mentioned the uniform the students of St. Martin de Paul's MAGHS wear to school in a week. And that is true, because the days of the week were mentioned so that the exact uniform they wear on each day can be captured. And that is it. The name of the school was mentioned just once. That was the beginning. But then the remaining part of the paragraph focuses on the types of uniforms or the outfits they wear from Monday to Friday to school. I hope this was easier and simple for you to understand. Now, let's look at another passage. We had a cleaner at work called Antoinette. Every morning she would sweep all the offices and mop all the floors. Antoinette always empties all the bins in the classrooms and those on the school compound. The school always looked clean because she always cleaned the place as if she was cleaning her home. One day, the cleaner was ill, so couldn't come to school. She wasn't able to come to school for 3 days because she still hadn't recovered fully from the illness. The school was unclean as most students were not used to cleaning their school environment themselves. When Antoinette came to school, everyone was happy and the students learned to always empty their bins after school so as to reduce the workload on Antoinette. Now, let's look at the summary task. The passage has been displayed here again. We had a cleaner at work called Antoinette. Every morning she would sweep all the offices and mop all the floors. Antoinette always empties all the bins in the classrooms and those on the school compound. The school always looked clean because she always cleaned the place as if she was cleaning her home. One day, the cleaner was ill, so couldn't come to school. She wasn't able to come to school for 3 days because she still hadn't fully recovered from the illness. The school was unclean as most students were not used to cleaning their school environments themselves. When Antoinette came to school, everyone was happy and the students learned to always empty their bins after school so as to reduce the workload on Antoinette. This is the passage we are going to use to answer the summary task that follows. The first question, summarize the passage in one sentence. How best do you think we can summarize this simple passage? What do you think the passage is focusing on or is talking about? The importance of cleanliness in our lives. Obviously, it's talking about Antoinette, but then Antoinette is not the only cleaner in the world. It's looking at the profession or what Antoinette does for a living, its importance, and how they make life easier for us. So the importance of cleanliness in our lives simplifies it. The lives here looks at the lives of the students, the lives of those in the school, the teachers, and everyone that Antoinette was helping keep their offices, their classroom, their compound clean. So the importance of cleanliness in our lives summarizes the entire passage here. Summarize the passage in 2 sentences. Now, we have to divide this passage or have 2 different focuses for this passage. Then we can say Antoinette the cleaner because the passage is about Antoinette and she's the cleaner. So Antoinette the cleaner, or the effect the absence of a cleaner has on a school. I hope you would agree with me and that it wasn't difficult for you to conclude on these answers on your own. If you had a similar answer, you can share it with your caregiver or you can share it with your teacher to consider if it could be correct or probably there could be some adjustments. To conclude, sentences can be summarized. I can't emphasize on this enough. That is the first rule, the first thing that you should consider before you move on to complex passages or paragraphs. Sentences can be summarized. It's that simple. And the moment you are able to summarize sentences, it makes it easier for you when you come to paragraphs. And then gradually you move on to passages. A paragraph or short passage can be summarized in 1 sentence or more, as we use the other examples or passages to explain. Most often, every paragraph in a passage has a particular focus or central idea. Identifying it helps make summarizing the paragraph easier That is when I was asking the leading questions, things to consider. That's for the first passage that we discussed. You can go back and then have a look at it. Writing a summary for short paragraphs is no different from answering summary tasks of lengthy passages. The moment you understand the whole idea of what summary writing, its rules, what you should consider, what you shouldn't consider, it makes it easier. It's applicable to every summary task that you come across. We will end today's lesson here, and I would want to believe that you benefited a lot from today's lesson. Displayed is the contact information that you can send your suggestion, recommendation, inputs, and anything you would want us to discuss on our page. Kindly click on the subscribe button and like this video if you haven't already done it. Thank you.